Hey, meat suits, it's me, the Immoral Oracle, and I felt led to pull a couple of cards for y'all today. So let's just get right into it. From the Dream Oracle deck, you got Alien and you got Church, Temple, Mosque. Okay, so right off the bat, we have except that you are unrepeatable, spectacular phenomenon. That's alien energy, right? Okay, but alien comes out the gate to say you are unique just like everybody else. Okay, so this is kind of an interesting dynamic when you put church, temple, mosque into it, because this is about self-sovereignty and about like a strong sense of your own authority. So this is about kind of recognizing and embracing who and what you are. And that's interesting because the Loyal Shadow from the Crow deck came out. The Loyal Shadow says your darkness, your fears, your anger is not an enemy. It follows you faithfully. Acknowledge it. So this tells me a couple of things that are potentially happening right now in your life. Crow is always here to ask you what you know. Okay, Crow is never here to tell you anything, right? Crow smirks at that anyway because your relationship with Crow. So I'll talk about myself for a minute. Several years ago, I used to kind of be uncomfortable around birds, and in particular, crows. I just felt like their beaks were really intimidating, and I just didn't know what to make of them. And I'm honestly someone who has spent my entire life um, learning how to regulate my nervous system because I grew up in chaos, in utter chaos, and never feeling safe. So, having said that, Crow was an interesting experience for me to face my fears directly. One day I sat outside. I lived in an area where there was a lot of magpies and crows. And I sat outside and just stared at one for a little while. And I noticed that I felt fear inside my chest, that my nervous system was on high alert, that the bird could come towards me at any moment. I saw how significant the beak was, how strong it seemed, And then I kept staring. I didn't move. I didn't turn away. I kept staring, and suddenly the same bird became beautiful, and I found myself kind of laughing because I was in my 30s at this point and had spent my entire life scared of them, and suddenly saw that actually they really weren't that scary. So I say that because that is kind of the energy that's coming through. It's like some things about yourself are being made known to you by you, and there's a way that you're meant to be, if you aren't already, kind of embracing this dual nature, right? And what I'm seeing here is this is like beauty and outer space and like caves, caverns, water, and then alien energy from all the way out in outer space. And it's like these two things are marrying the way that they're coming through in this reading, and I really kind of just love that for you. So this is really about recognizing all of the parts of you, and that's kind of in the same theme of my last reading for y'all. So I just feel like there's some assimilation and there's some new direction and new ideas going on for you right now, and Mercury retrogrades can be that, but this Mercury retrograde has a lot else going on. But my readings are timeless, so we won't get into that. Okay, for the tarot, we're using the Fairy Tarot, and you got Ace of Winter. Ace of Winter is going to be Ace of Swords. Okay, and so swords are always about like a new perspective, a higher thought, a clarity of thought. But this is also coming through because under the dream deck, you got cell phone, which is about clarity of communication, and under the crow deck, you got the silent agreement, which is also about clarification and communication. So there is a way that you are meant to be articulating So this energy is dual. You're having a new idea. You're understanding things from a different perspective, right? From a different perspective about yourself, very likely, or about a situation that involves others that you love in your life. And this is a card that's about understanding yourself clearly and communicating yourself intentionally and clearly. And to be honest, Three of Summer coming next, this is about communicating. This is Three of Cups. This is communicating joy, communicating emotions. This is about genuinely embracing and experiencing and sharing emotions with people in your life who you deem as important. Okay. And this is about announcements, things that you cherish, and things that are worth celebrating in your life. Okay. Having new ideas and communication about what those things are and what they mean to you. And the last reading in this same, no, actually, it was here. It was in this position. So now we've moved. So there's some growth. Okay. The very last reading, you got the star. This is look to the future with hope and optimism, the power of faith to move mountains, happy challenges that bring relief from challenging times. Not only has this card moved a spot forward in your reading compared to the last reading I did for you, but this figure is clothed, which means she's gone into the depths. She has reached into her own vulnerability, and then she has clothed herself in the truth. That's what I'm hearing right now. She has clothed herself in the truth, okay? And she's reaching deep into this well. Here's all this water, and here's this water, this joy, this fullness of the heart, um, acknowledging and openly cherishing things that matter to you. And she's really, in this card, doing some beautiful alchemy and some healing. And this is kind of alien energy to me. There is something unique that you bring to the world and bring to your relationships that it's okay for you to embrace and acknowledge at this time. And with let's see, what is this deck? With the Whispers of the Ocean Oracle, I pulled two to finish off your reading. 5, change directions with ease. This is a time for change, shape shifting, or your soul's evolution. It is time to reconsider what you are wanting. You may be in for a surprise. And this is kind of this deep dive energy that I was getting here with Alien and Mosque. Like you are the most spiritual relationship that you will ever have in your own life. I know a lot of people think that, church is, or whatever is, spirituality is found outside of the self, but truly I think that unless there's a strong relationship with yourself, with your shadow, with all of the things that other people are scared to admit about where they've been and who they are and how they've thought and what they're becoming, people can only meet others as deeply as they have met themselves. And this is kind of like go with the flow energy, but it's go with your own flow. Go with like the flow that is coming up within you. And 27, push to the surface. You may have become complacent. You might be stalling or in need of a new surge of energy. Become aware of the dynamics in your life, and not just in your life, but within yourself, okay? Whales are mammals. They have to come to the surface or they drown and die, right? So does your truth. So do your feelings, okay? So does like your own unique and sacred identity. It must come to the surface in this life, or else what is it for, right? What is it for? That's a question for you to ask yourself. I actually am just going to leave this here at this time, and I'm wishing you so much wellness. Until next time.